Okay, let's go through the 4NA 2021 CHR Sci Chem Prelim paper. So let's go through the answers for the MCQ first, paper 3. Okay, so let's start. The melting and boiling point of some substances are shown below in the table. Which substances are liquid at room temperature? So for room temperature, we'll take it as at 25 degrees Celsius. So do take notes. Melting point, let's draw a line over here. Boiling point, let's draw a line over here. Okay, anything that's above the boiling point, we know that it is a gas. Anything below the melting point, we know that it is a solid. So what's in between is definitely the liquid. So what we need to do is, to find out which substances are liquid at room temperature, we ask ourselves, where is 25 degrees, okay, in terms of the temperature? So this is negative 130, this is 36. So 25 degrees is less than 36, but above negative 130. So this is room temperature, will be over here. So we know that W will be a liquid at room temperature. Next one, X. Melting point is negative 39, so 25 degrees is above this. Boiling point is 357. We know that the room temperature is below this. So X for room temperature is actually over here. Next one, Y. 29 degrees is the melting point. So 25 degrees is less than the melting point, so it's over here. Last one, Z. Melting point is 30. Okay, so we know room temperature is over here. What's the point of writing this RT? So what it means that for W, when it is at room temperature, it will be a liquid. X. At room temperature, it will be a liquid. Y at room temperature is a solid. Z at room temperature is a solid. So to answer this question, which substances are liquid at room temperature? It will be W and X only. Okay, next. A student needs to measure 17.3 Cmq of acid and 25.0 Cmq of alkali during salt preparation. What apparatus should be used to measure the volumes? So this really is a test of apparatus. I just need to take note. 2 decimal place here, okay, and measuring a solution, okay, bracket liquid. So if I want to measure the volume of a liquid and it's to 2 decimal place in terms of Cmq, this would means that I need to use burette. Next one, 25 Cmq of alkali. Okay, alkali is also a solution, okay, which means it's a liquid. So 25.0 Cmq, whenever you see it's in multiple of 5, okay, multiple, let me rewrite this out. You see that it is in multiples of 5. By multiples of 5. So example, 5, 10, 15. And when you see that it is to 1 decimal place, okay, so if I were to combine these two, it means that if you do see 5.0, 10.0, 15.0, 20.0, all this in terms of Cmq would mean that you need to use a pipette or pipette, whichever it is. Okay, so as such, for the acid, you should be using a burette. For the alkali, you should be using a pipette. So answer will be B. So as I mentioned just now, let's repeat again. So 2 decimal place in Cmq, okay, and measuring a solution, bracket liquid, I will use the burette. Okay, 1 decimal place in multiples of 5, and it is also in terms of measuring the solution, the liquid. By measuring the volume of a liquid, we will know that we should be using the pipette. Okay, next. Ethanol and water will mix to make a sanitizing solution. Now, first thing you need to identify ethanol and water when they mix. What will you form? You will form they are actually miscible liquids. So they can dissolve in one another. Okay, so when they are miscible liquids, it means they will dissolve in one another. You will not see 2 distinct layers. So the question is, which method can be used to separate the mixture? So if I want to separate the mixture like this, okay, I cannot use filtration, I cannot use evaporation and dryness, because this too is to obtain, or is to separate So like the solid, okay, in the solution. So I'm left with fractional and simple distillation. When should I use fractional? When should I use simple? Now you need to know this, that ethanol and water, ethanol is actually boiling point at 78 degrees Celsius. Water is actually 100 degrees Celsius. Distillation actually heats up the solution such that it starts to boil. Okay, and when it boils, you condense it for you to collect the solution itself. So because the temperature 7800 is relatively close, what we're going to do is we can't really use simple distillation because you will not get pure ethanol. You will get a little bit of water possibly because of the closeness in terms of the boiling point. So this in terms of the boiling point. As such, the only answer left is C. Okay, fractional distillation. So this is under your separation technique. Okay, so take note of that. Next, which diagram represents a mixture of two compounds? Okay, so I need to identify two compounds within the diagram. So you look at here, actually I got this and I got this. Okay, in A, I got two different kind of patterns I see here. This one, the single circle is actually an element. This one, you can see two different circles combined together. This is actually a compound. So A is a mixture. So it's correct, mixture. But this is a mixture of one element, one compound. That's why A is wrong. B, I have this, an element. This is also an element because it is on its own. It's not combined to any other things. Okay. So this is actually a mixture of two elements. So B is also out. C. Okay. What I have here, can you see one black, one white circle? So chemically combine these two different elements chemically combined, compound. This one here, one small circle, and one big circle. Two small circles combined to one big circle. This is also a compound. Because different element combined to each other. Two different elements chemically combined. For D, what I have here, this is a compound. This guy here, can you see these two circles are the same? So it's not two different elements. It's the same element combined together. Actually, this is also classified as an element. So D is out because it's a mixture of a compound and an element. So that's why D is out. C is a mixture of two compounds. So C is the answer. Okay, next. 5. Which row represents an atom? For it to be an atom, the key concept is it should be electrically neutral. Which means that the number of protons must be equal to the number of electrons. As such, the only answer left is C. I just need to focus on this row and this row. Make sure the numbers are the same. So 13, 13. Therefore, C is the answer. Next, which row represents the property of electron? So electrons' relative charge is -1. So don't think of that. In terms of relative mass, it's actually a very small relative mass. As such, it is 1/140. So the answer is B for question 6. Next one. 7. The atom of element L has 12 electrons, while the atom of element M has 8 electrons. What's the formula of the compound formed between the elements L and M? Because this is atom, so if I got 12 electrons, which means that I'll have 12 protons. 8 electrons, which means that I'll have 8 protons. Now, protons, if you know how many protons the element have, you will actually be able to find out what element it is. So to find out what element it is, if you know the number of protons, you can find out. So if you look in your periodic table, element L has 12 protons. I think now you should have periodic table. So 12 protons. The top number is the proton, is actually over here. So element L is actually magnesium. The other one has 8 protons. It's actually oxygen. So L is magnesium. M is actually oxygen. So what's the formula of the compound? MgO, magnesium. Okay, the number over here is 2. Okay, the bonding number is 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So what I'm writing here up here is actually what we call the valency. or some of you may want to simplify and call the bonding number. So oxygen bonding number is 2, magnesium bonding number is also 2. So going back to the question, magnesium will form a 2 plus, oxygen will form a 2 minus. If you do the crisscross, what you're going to have is Mg2O2. And when you simplify it further, you're going to get MgO. So the formula of the compound form is actually MgO, which is actually Lm. Okay, so that's for question 7. Question 8. Which statement about covalent compounds is correct? Covalent compounds are formed by the transfer of electrons. That transfer of electrons is for ionic compound. Okay, so that's why this is confirmed wrong. Covalent compounds are soluble in water but insoluble in organic solvent. This is also wrong. This is also for ionic compound. Okay, next one. Covalent substance or covalent compounds can conduct electricity in all states. This is also wrong. This is actually for metals. Last one, covalent compounds have low melting and boiling points. Yes, this is correct. So take note, covalent compounds have low melting point and low boiling point. Next, the equation shows the chemical equation for the combustion of propane in air. What's the values of x, y, z? What values of x, y, z balances the equation? So first thing, whenever your combustion equation, the key to balancing this is the first thing, balance the carbon. Second thing, balance the hydrogen. And last thing, you balance the oxygen. So key, draw a line over here, compare the left and the right. So initially, carbon, 3 carbon on the left hand side. Right hand side, I only got 1 carbon. To make it 3, y must be 3. Okay, so I'm done. Next, I got 8 hydrogens on the left hand side. Right hand side, I only got 2. So how to make 2 become 8? I multiply by 4. So therefore, z must be 4. Now, with this, so I know on the right hand side now, I have 3 CO2 and 4 H2O. The last thing I need to balance is oxygen. So here, I got 6 oxygen. Here, I got 4 oxygen. So in total, I have 10 oxygen. I have 10 oxygen. 4 times, 6 times over here. So 6 oxygen, 4 oxygen, add up together, 10 oxygen. So I got O2 over here. How to make O2 become 10? So I need to X must have the number 5. So therefore the answer here is C. Okay, so question 9 answer is C. Okay, next. A compound of chlorine has a formula XCl2. The relative molecular mass of this compound is 111. What is element X? So first thing, okay, you know that the MR of the XCl2 is 111. How to find the MR? Is actually take the MR of X plus, okay, so to find MR of X, I actually take X plus, because the Cl2, I take 2Cl, I actually get 111. So I have 1 over here. So the mass of X plus the mass of 2Cl actually gives me 111. Now, from the periodic table, I can find the mass of chlorine. So if you go down the periodic table, chlorine, the mass is 35.5. So let's go back up. So X plus 2 times 35.5 is actually equals to 111. I'm going to get X equals to 111 minus 71. So this is 71. So this is equivalent to 30. Okay, sorry, 40. Let's see, 40. So MR of X is 40. So if I look at a periodic table, if I look at all of these elements, you realize, okay, if I look through all the elements, which of these elements there has an MR of 40? Answer actually is calcium. Same over here. So answer for this is actually B. Okay, so you find the element with an MR of 40. Okay, so that's for question 10. Question 11, a solution was tested using red and blue litmus paper. The results of the test is as shown. Red litmus paper turns blue, tells you that the substance is alkali. Blue litmus paper remains blue. This means that yes, confirm alkali. Okay? Now, which statement does not describe this solution? Solution has a pH of 10. Question mark. Okay? Possibly. Maybe yes, maybe no. Can be higher, can be lower, possible. But this one actually tells me it's an alkali, right? Okay, so okay, possibly. Solution is a strong alkali. Okay, possibly, yes, because I know it's an alkali, yes. Solution is neutral. How can it be neutral? Because if it's neutral, this will not happen. Okay, so if it's neutral, the red will not turn blue. As such, therefore C must be the answer. Because the solution is not neutral, the solution is alkali. So pH 10 is correct because it's an alkali. Strong alkali, yes, correct, because it can turn the blue newspaper red, possibly. The solution is sodium hydroxide. When you see sodium hydroxide, when you see potassium hydroxide, when you see ammonium hydroxide, okay, or sometimes ammonium hydroxide is also known as aqueous ammonia. When you see these terms, what does it mean? It means that these are all alkalis. So 1, 2, 3, these three things are all alkalis. Okay, so which one does not describe this solution? Answer will be C, because I am supposed to look out for something that's saying it's an alkali. So A alkali, B alkali, D alkali, C neutral, obviously it's wrong. Okay, question 12. The soil in the garden has a pH of 6.0. Okay, 6.0, question. Acidic, neutral, alkali? As answer is, it is acidic. Okay, because neutral is pH 7. So take note, neutral means pH equals to 7. Okay, the pH of the soil can be changed by adding calcium hydroxide. Which plant will grow better with the addition of calcium hydroxide to the soil? So if I add calcium hydroxide to the soil, the pH, this will actually cause the pH to increase. Now, if I cause the pH to increase, initially it's 6. 4.5, confirm wrong lah. 5.5 also wrong lah. If I add calcium hydroxide, pH stays the same, also confirm wrong lah. So answer left is D, because from 6 it became 6.5. So there's an increase in pH due to the addition of calcium hydroxide, which is an alkali. So an alkali will actually cause the pH to increase. Okay, next. Which salt can be prepared by adding a metal to an acid? Okay, a metal to an acid. So, which salt can be prepared by doing so? Okay, so what we need to see here is the idea of reaction of metal. So I know copper cannot react with acid. So how do I know? Okay, so I just look at all this metal here in its reaction with acid. So I know copper cannot react acid because it's too unreactive. I know lead also is, if you put in acid, it's also quite unreactive itself. In addition, lead 2 sulfate is an insoluble salt. So actually, you will not use metal to acid. Okay, so that's why C is also out. A is also out. Now I'm left with B and D. Which one is the correct answer? Answer will be B and not D. Why not D? Because sodium is too reactive. So if it is too reactive, what's going to happen is that there will be an explosion. As such, you will not use sodium to be added to an acid to prepare sodium chloride. So answer left is B, aluminium nitrate. Okay, so copper, why you cannot use? Because it is too unreactive. It will not react with acid. Lead 2 sulfate is an insoluble salt. So you cannot use this method to prepare. You cannot add metal to acid because it's an insoluble salt. So A and C is out. I left B and D. D is out because sodium is too reactive to react with acid. It's an explosive reaction. As such, an answer left is B. Okay, next, question 14, which is not a reason why metals are often used in the forms of alloy. So reasons why they are often used in form of alloy, it should be in terms of a positive effect. Or you want it to have a positive effect, right? So if it's harder and stronger than pure metals, obviously it's true. Alloys are more resistant. Stainless steel, okay, you know that they're more resistant. Alloys have a nicer appearance than pure metals. Obviously, it's something good. Now, alloys have a higher melting point than pure metals. Actually, this is not true. Okay, why do we use alloys with low melting points? Actually, for soldering. Soldering, you mix two metals together to lower the melting point. So for soldering, you need something with a low melting point, but yet it can still conduct electricity. So actually, soldering uses alloys which when you mix the two metals together, it has a lower melting point. Therefore, answer D is the correct answer because it is not a reason why it's being used. Okay, question 15. Equation below represents the reactions that occurs in a blast furnace during the extraction of iron. Which one represents where impurities are removed? So impurities removed, I will need to look at the idea of removing. Let me write down removing silicon dioxide. Why is silicon dioxide is SiO2. So therefore, 2 is confirmed going to be inside. Now 1 is not about impurities being removed. 2 is also not. 5 is also not. 4 actually produces your calcium oxide, which is used to actually produce your slag. This one over here is actually slag. Okay, sorry, let me spell the slag. So therefore, 2 and 4 is a reaction in which impurities are removed. Okay, you actually produce, okay, by heating up calcium carbonate, you get calcium oxide. This calcium oxide will actually react with silicon dioxide to give you calcium silicate, which is also known as slag. This is the interesting reaction because you actually add two solids together to give you a liquid. See, liquid. So it's actually quite cool, huh? Add two solids, it becomes a liquid. It's like magic. Magic. Okay, so question 15. Whenever you talk about impurities being removed, you are focusing on the idea of slag. So you need calcium oxide, we have silicon dioxide. So how do you get a calcium oxide? It's actually your limestone decomposing to form your calcium oxide. So that's for 15. Okay, 16. A newly discovered element was placed in group 2, period 8. Group 2 tells you it has 2 valence electrons. Period 8 tells you it has 8 electron shells. So this is what the details of the statements here tells you. Group 2, 2 valence electron, period 8, 8 electron shells. So, which one describes this element? 2 electrons in a valence shell? Obviously, this is the answer. 2 electron shell is wrong. Non-metal, group 2 is all metal, so this is also wrong. Now, some people may have chosen 8 valence shells. Now, valence represents the outermost shell, outermost electron shell. How can you have 8 outermost electron shell? You only have 1 outermost electron shell, isn't it? So the word valence may have deceived people, causing people to choose option C. Or you all look at A and C, choosing mini money, mini more, and those who chose C, too bad. So be very clear on answer. Key idea, group 2 is 2 valence electrons. Okay? Next, question 17. Percentage composition of gases in the atmosphere of several newly discovered planets are shown. Which one is most likely to be habitable for humans? So what you want to look out for is the atmosphere is close to Earth's. So what is the atmosphere composition? Nitrogen, about 78%. Oxygen, about 21%. Okay. CO2, about 0.03%. And subsequently, the rest are all noble gases, which is about 0.97%. So this is sort of like the composition, okay, of dry air, okay, of dry air in Singapore, in the world, on Earth. So which one is close to this? Answer will be C. Okay, C, the values are very close. Okay, so you can see here A is out because oxygen is too low. B is out because carbon dioxide is too high. D is out because oxygen is too high and nitrogen is too low. So therefore answer left is C. Okay. Which compound is a hydrocarbon? Hydrocarbon means only have carbon and hydrogen. So this one got chlorine, wrong. This one got nitrogen, wrong. This one got oxygen, wrong. Therefore answer left is D. So question 18, give away. Okay, or you just know what the crap is hydrocarbon. Okay, next, 19. The member of alkane homologous series is a formula of C8H18 and a melting point of 125.6 degrees Celsius. which is the next member of the alkane homologous series. So first thing, you need to know the general formula for alkane. General formula for alkane is actually CnH2n plus 2. Okay, so the member C8H18, what's next will be C9. So if I substitute N as 9, my H will be 2 times 9 plus 2. What you're going to get is C9H20. So look at C9H20, the only answer left is D. One other thing to note is that if it is in the next member, the melting point will actually be higher than C8H18, because when going down the group, okay, when going down from one member to the next, actually the melting point and the boiling point will increase, okay, due to stronger forces of attraction between the molecules. Between the molecules. And why is it so? Because bigger molecules will result in stronger force of attraction. Okay, that's for question 19. Last one, question 20. Which of this is a polyunsaturated compound? Key idea, when you see the word unsaturated for organic chemistry, you are looking out for C double bond C. Poly means that there's many. So what I'm looking out for is many C double bond C. This one totally don't have. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 C double bond C. Looks very promising. This one here only got 1 C double bond C. This one only got 1 C double bond C. So therefore C and D is wrong because it is not polyunsaturated. Okay, so therefore answer left is only P. Okay, so this is the end for paper 3. Okay, so do check through the answers, do take note of your mistakes, and then if you got any question, please feel free to ask your teachers or replay the video at the segment that you need. So that's all for now. Thank you very much.